Washington mornings on the Mall. 105.9 FM. And AM 630. WMAL.
7:06 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. Today, Brian Wilson, I'm joined by Tori Clark.
I had to think about it for a second.
I was just thinking about all of how long we've known each other. And how
it makes us sound very old, and we're not.
No, we're really not. But I don't feel that way. I'll let you speak for yourself. But we've known each other since what? I'd say about '86.
Did you? Well, I started working on the Hill for McCain when he was on the House side in '83.
Okay, but I came along in '86.
Yeah, so I think we didn't know each other till we were on the Senate side.
That's right. You were on the Senate side. That's when I first met you, and you came waltzing through my little office up there where I was a reporter. And dropped a press release in my hand. I said, "Who is that?" And she said, "I'm Tori Clark."
And, I can't remember who told me to do this. It was great advice. They said, if you want to be a good press secretary on the Hill, don't just sit in your office and wait for the phone to ring. You've got to get out there. And I spent as much or more time out of my office, walking the hallways, visiting people like you and others, and it really helped.
If you're a conservative, no doubt your thinking it's entirely possible has been impacted in ways that you can only, explain.
If you're a student of great literature,
that's right. If you are,
if you're conservative.
By the Ayn Rand novel Atlas Shrugged. Now, look, it's been turned into a movie. The first part has already come and gone, and I guess you can go out there and get it on Apple TV or Netflix if you want to see it. But
and you should.
But part 2 is coming up because this is a quite complicated tale, and part 2 is coming up. It's going to be released in theaters on Friday. Guess what? We got the producer of Atlas Shrugged 2 on the line. Harmon Kaslow is with us. Mr. Kaslow, thanks for joining us.
Oh, good morning, Brian and Tori. It's good to be with you.
Thank you.
So talk to us a little about part 2 and where we pick up the story.
Well, the novel was written back in 1957. It's 1,100 pages, structured into 3 parts. So the first part was out tax day, as you mentioned, in 2011. And we're just following through the book. We're now kind of beginning to see a lot of the things that I'm sure you talk about on a daily basis. We have, in the midst of an economic recession, we have high unemployment rates, we have high fuel costs, but we still have our hero, not Tory, but Dagny.
Dagny Taggart.
Hardworking, smart, tenacious, with bureaucrats, lazy businessmen, getting in her way, and dealing with this sort of plot line, which is, what happens to the world when its best minds disappear? They go on strike.
So, Harmon, I cannot wait to tell my kids that I got to talk to you this morning, because last summer I tortured them. Well, it started out as torture by making them listen to the book, Atlas Shrugged, in the car. We're on some long car trip. And it's a gripping story, and they were into it almost immediately, loved the story, and they very quickly made the connection between Atlas Shrugged and Hunger Games. And there are some parallels. Hunger Games, hugely popular with kids and lots of people. And I wonder, what is it about the message of individualism and limited government that is so powerful now? I mean, your timing is impeccable on this, but what do you think is going on that is making the resurgence, the interest in Atlas Shrugged and that kind of story?
Well, I think that it's pretty simple. If you enjoy your work and you do it well, if you constantly strive to be better and work hard every day, you're the type of person that will love Atlas Shrugged. If you believe that the government, you're entitled to something from the government, that the government is there to take care of you, to, in a sense, level the playing field, Atlas Shrugged is not for you. And this country was built really on the spirit of capitalism. And what the book does, and it really was written to be a warning about what happens when capitalism becomes a dirty word. And here you are talking about your children, and you think about the future, and you hear the president, for example, talk about ladders of opportunity. This is really the first time that we're going to pass on to our legacy a backpack that's full of $16 trillion of debt, which is certainly going to affect their opportunities. So I think that kind of ups the ante for everyone and creates a level of interest that this book hasn't seen since it was published in 1957.
And you know what's so interesting about this is that's so timely, as you say. And yes, just yesterday we were talking on this program about a CEO by the name of David Siegel, who runs Westgate Resorts, sent a letter to his employees saying, look, I can't tell you how to vote, but you should vote in your best interest. And he goes on to lay out why he thought it was in their best interest to not vote for Barack Obama, although he wasn't quite that clear cut about it. He started to say, look, the situation is if the current administration is reelected and the taxes go up, I'm going to have no choice but to lay off people. And we got comments from people saying he just went all John Galt on them.
No, absolutely. And also there was another great clip from Steve Wynn, who actually voted for President Obama in the first election, who's also a huge fan of the book, and basically, saying that why are we demonizing the people in this country that create jobs simply by the fact that they become wealthy as a result of pursuing the American dream.
Was it difficult to get this movie made? The first one, I think I remember somebody saying it was really hard to get it made because this was not a message that Hollywood really wanted to invest in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The media in Hollywood really see us as threatening to their left-wing agenda. They know that this book has sold millions and millions of copies. Obviously, with the election coming up in a few weeks, there really is a possibility that this film could have an impact on the swing voter, because there's so many people in the communities that are like-minded, conservative, who believe in individual rights, smaller government, and free markets, which are really the ideas of Ayn Rand that are celebrated in the movie.
I'm all for that. I believe people should get their news, their information, their guidance anywhere they can get it. And I think sometimes people don't really understand what's at stake in this election, because the politicians talk about so many things. They don't really see that it is a choice about, do you want more government or less government? Do you want more individual rights or fewer individual rights? And if they got it from this movie, that'd be fabulous.
No, absolutely.
Do you like this one better? Do you like two better than one?
Well, listen,
you love them all.
Baby,
yeah.
And so, I see the picture of it, and I can hardly be objective. But I can tell you that we did screen the movie. We've screened it twice, once in L.A., once in D.C. People came out of it saying, if you liked part one, you'll love part two. What's important is, this movie stands alone. So if you haven't, read the book or had a chance to see part one, the way we've structured the movie and told this story, you don't need to know anything about it for you to completely understand what's going on and to be able to capture the message that was in the book.
Well, Harmon Kaslow, good luck with Friday. Hope it goes well for you.
Thank you very much. And if people want information, it's at atlasshruggedmovie.com. And you're right, opening across the country, October 12th. Let's go out and celebrate Ayn Rand's ideas.
All right.
Thanks
Harmon Kaslow, producer of Atlas Shrugged, Part 2, hits the theaters on Friday.